when I was a kid, my mother was a caretaker. She didn't work as a caretaker. She just had this absolute compulsion to take care of everybody else's needs, often at the expense of her own. That's why she married my father. He was a walking bundle of needs. He was always in trouble with her, with the neighbors, with the police. And in fact, ultimately, he proved too much even for her, and she divorced him. And that was way back, before divorce was cool. Well, after the split, she tried dating some guys, but all of the guys that she found today were, well, they were pretty self-sufficient, and they didn't need any help, so that was really disappointing for her. And she gave that up as a lost cause. But there were us 4 kids, and, you know, single mom raising 4 kids, there were plenty of needs to go around. Eventually, she did a good job, and we all kind of grew up, and we got pretty independent. And then she was worried she was going to be stuck without somebody to take care of. And then her parents, my grandparents, stepped up to the plate, and they got really, really sick. Which was good. And then they died. Which, you know, not because of anything she did, but because that's, you know, that happens to all of us eventually. And then she was stuck, and what she did was she took up genealogy. Yeah, that was her way of, like, taking care of the whole family posthumously. And she really got into it. This was before internet and all that stuff, so she had to collect all this stuff. And she collected all these old-timey photos and all these anecdotes, cookbooks, and she put together these family trees. I mean, she really got involved in it. And during my mother's genealogy period, I took a job in a nursing home taking care of people. Now, there were a lot of characters in this nursing home, but the one I want to talk about is a guy named Frank. Now, Frank was an old German, and he was somewhere in his 80s. We didn't know exactly how old, but we knew he was in his 80s, and that was, you know, back when most people in their 80s were dead. Now, Frank wasn't in too good a shape himself. He was all crippled up with arthritis. He was bent into this permanent fetal position, and he was blind, or at least his eyes were closed, so it had pretty much the same effect. But despite that, in his mind, he was young and vital. He didn't need any help. He just enjoyed himself. He actually was pretty upbeat. He loved to sing these old German songs and talk about the old country and reminisce. And there was a woman down the hall. We called her Aunt Vi. And she was 101, which was like living mummy. We had to be careful when we moved her for fear she would crumble into dust. But she was also German, and she loved to sing these old German songs and reminisce about the old country. So every once in a while I would wheel Frank down and lay them there side by side on their respective beds, and they would reminisce about the old country, and they'd sing these old German songs and just have a good old time. Well, my main job with Frank was to feed him his afternoon meal. Well, Frank didn't have any teeth, so he had to puree everything, and, you know, so the stuff was like pablum. One day I'm feeding Frank his pablum, and he goes, "Oh boy, that stuff's pretty dry. I could use a little bit of beer to wash that down with." Well, Frank was on a lot of medications, so I wasn't sure if it was okay. I asked his doctor, and the doctor said, "Look, Frank is all alone. We don't know if he has any living relatives at all. He's got that little crappy clock radio, that plastic thing, it's all full of static, and he listens to that all day. That's his whole life. Give him a beer. So Frank's afternoon meal became pablum and beer. Until one afternoon, he said, "Oh boy, that beer's pretty good, but I could use a little sausage." So with that beer, well, Frank didn't have any teeth. So after one unfortunate choking incident, I figured out that if you take the skin off that sausage and cut it up small enough and give him enough beer to drink with it, he could get that down. And so his afternoon meal became pablum and sausage and beer. Until one afternoon he said, "Oh boy, that beer and that sausage, that's pretty good. I could use a little cheese to go with that. Then it'd be perfect." So Frank's afternoon meal became sausage and beer and cheese, and I did away with the pablum altogether. And then I was his best buddy. Oh, he opened up, he started talking about his personal life and all this stuff that happened to him, and he kept talking about this woman that he called his little Anna. Well, the way he talked about her, I mean, he was obviously smitten with this woman. The way he talked about her, I thought it was probably his wife, so I asked him, and he said, "Oh, no, that's Louis' kid." "Louis?" "Yeah, my brother, Louis." Well, this started sounding familiar to me. So I asked my mom. And her eyes got like this big. And she said, "Frank? Louis' brother Frank? Are you kidding me?" And she went through to her stuff and all these pictures, and she pulled out this old-timey photograph. And she said, is that Frank?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. The guy's a lot younger. And his eyes are open. And he has teeth. I don't know." And so she packed up some of the stuff and went over to the nursing home. She started talking to Frank about all this stuff. Now, she had to describe it, of course, because his eyes were closed. And she's asking him all these questions that she can't quite figure out. She's trying to get to something, but she can't quite figure out if this is the guy. And then she asked a question. I will never forget this. She asked one question. She said, "Frank, do you remember what Louis gave to Anna on her 18th birthday?" And he laughed. He said, "Oh, yeah, he gave her a potato." At this point, I knew exactly who he was, because my grandfather, Louis, had given me an onion when I turned 18. True story. That's the kind of thing he did. This is kind of where I got my sense of humor. Anyway. Look, if you get onions for your birthday, you develop a sense of humor. And so she told him. She said, "Frank, I'm little Anna. I am Louis' daughter." Well, Frank's got to cogitate on this for a minute. He starts making faces and noises like he usually only makes when he's having a bowel movement. "See, you're Anna?" "Yes, I'm your little Anna. I'm your only living relative." And this is perfect, because here we got Mom who needs to take care of somebody. We got Frank who needs somebody to take care of. And he goes, "I don't give a shit." My mom she didn't say anything. She just shrank. She packed up all this stuff. She went back home. She put it all in a big box. she packed up, she took all her genealogy stuff, she put it in that box, she sealed it up, pushed it to the far back corner of the closet, and she never opened that box again. But what she did do is she got on the phone and she started calling people. She started calling friends. She called travel agents. And she started traveling. She went all over the world. She went to Europe. She saw the pyramids in Egypt. She took this beautiful cruise up to Alaska. She was all over the place. And she told me that she had always wanted to travel. And she did for 4 or 5 years until she physically couldn't travel anymore. She always wanted to travel, but she never allowed herself to do it because she was always taking care of somebody. And she, Frank, had released her. So she was finally able to take care of herself. Thank you.